Hey everyone, quick update here following my Alatreon sucks video. Based on the comments I'm getting, it's pretty clear that I wasn't very clear with my explanation as to why I don't like the hunt, so I just kind of want to rectify that. So to be 100% clear, I don't dislike the fight because it's hard. I don't dislike the fight because you have to use elemental weapons. I don't dislike having to break the horns. I don't dislike needing endgame gear, and I don't dislike how the fight itself actually plays out. My issue with the hunt is the insta-fail one-shot mechanic that happens if you don't do enough elemental damage and break the horns. I did not enjoy feeling like I had to play very aggressive and recklessly in order to do these DPS checks and having to constantly wound parts to increase my elemental damage and all these other things. It's clear that Capcom wants us to fight this in a very specific way, and in my opinion, I think they punish the player by not doing it in the way they want by one-shotting you. I think a better way of going about doing this would have been to have them reward players for using elemental weapons, such as making the hunt go really fast, not really fast, but much faster if you use an elemental weapon than, say, not using an elemental weapon, and it goes much slower, for example. That's one way they could have done this. Eschaton Judgment is just not a fun mechanic in my opinion because it punishes incorrect play rather than rewarding correct play. This still might sound as though I don't like having to use elemental weapons, but that's not what I'm saying. I actually do enjoy that we have to use elemental weapons for this hunt because pretty much throughout the entirety of World and Iceborne, like elemental weapons have been, just weaker than raw counterparts. Generally speaking, of course, for dual blades, it's a different story, but overall, Element has been weaker in this game than raw. Most speedrun builds actually just use like Raging Bracky or Sappy weapons that have blast on them because the raw is just more worth it. The one-shot mechanic just feels very MMO-like to me, and I don't think that those types of mechanics should be in Monster Hunter World. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned because I started with the older Monster Hunter games, but I just want to fight a hard monster with no gimmicks that just kicks my butt because the fight itself is actually hard, not because I didn't do enough DPS in the first 7 minutes of the hunt. Also, if I should have brought this up in my first video, it feels strange that you get a 50-minute time limit for this hunt because it's never it's just irrelevant. And also, I don't understand why you only need Master Rank 24. It really should be like Master Rank 100 because you need endgame gear to do this. I know there are some people who have done this with like all Pierce heavy bowguns, and I actually think there was like a naked sword and shield run, or he used a base sword and shield, or something. It was something crazy. But that's obviously not the average player, and the average player is still, struggling with this. Not that struggling with the fight is a bad thing per se, but I've heard some people saying that, the DPS check really isn't that bad, but my counter argument to that is Gaijin Hunter made an entire 20-minute guide with some very good information, by the way. Even if you have done the fight and you don't care, or you think the fight's easy, go watch it anyways, because there's just good information in there, period. But he made an entire guide to help people with this hunt, because the DPS check is still proving to be very difficult for a lot of people. So I don't think that the DPS check is like actually an easy part of the fight. I think Alatreon World is hard enough without the DPS check, and it doesn't need that to live up to its reputation. I know I've said this like a million times, but it's really just the one-shot mechanic that I have a problem with, and I just don't think it belongs in this kind of game. I don't find it fun, and it really kills the experience for me. Hopefully, my opinions on the fight are much more clear and out in the open now. I think I didn't, do a great job of explaining why I didn't like things in the first video, so hopefully this kind of clears the water a bit. And thank you all for watching, as always, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Other than that, I'll see you all in the next one.